Hello and welcome to another difficulty check. I kind of want to be honest here and say that I did not like this game the first time I played it. I played it for like 10 minutes maybe, and I was like, I don't like this. This is dumb. And I quit. Came back like a week later. Liked it a little more. I made it past the first level, but even then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play it until my friends hop on to play. And once that happened, I changed my mind. It's actually a very fun game. So anyways, I started off on default difficulty because you kind of have to, unfortunately. They have 3 levels. It's default, adventure, and apocalypse. Since default was a bit too easy for me, I made sure to crank up the level. They actually have like a level modifier, so I cranked it up to 5, I believe, which was the highest I could go at that point. And that was a little harder. I didn't think it was all that bad though. Like, as long as I, went slow and I played smart and didn't just rush in, it was fine. They could kill me pretty quickly, but if I just stayed back and kept them at bay with my sword or whatever, didn't really have too much trouble. When I first started, I used Radiance. I thought it was OP at first, but then I didn't, and then I did again because I found out using it on a very fast weapon is the best way to go. I was using it on a really slow sword, so it didn't really have its full potential. I can say for enemies, one of my least favorite was creepers. Although they were good in some points because you could use them against the enemies if you were, smart about it. So at least there was that. The potions, or the potion you used was on cooldown. So I feel like I used Radiance way more often than my potion cooldown. It just, I don't know, it wasn't a big deal that it was on cooldown. I don't think I ever died because my potion was on cooldown. I just died because I took a big hit, or I tried to take on a little too much. I got pretty lucky. There was a swamp cave, soggy cave, something like that. The very first time I went there, I got the Fighter's Bindings, which I found out later on are actually very OP. Mine had Radiance on them, and I think they also had the one that makes it so you have an AoE around you. So yeah, I had a pretty easy time later because of that weapon. Also, I grabbed the Death Cap pretty early, so those two mixed with Radiance just really made my time easy. So I would say if I didn't get that weapon, I had a different weapon, it may have been a little harder, but I still don't think it would have been like crazy difficult. For my other item through a good portion of the game, I use a lightning rod, which does a very high amount of damage whenever you collect souls by killing enemies. And I mean a very high amount of damage. It was taking chunks out of bosses. So that mixed with Radiance, yeah. And the Fighter's Bindings, easy. Now in the beginning, before I got lucky with those Fighter Bindings, I remember having power level 2, and I did an area with power level 22. I was having some problems, but it was only because I was kind of like trying to rush to get higher power. And I found out that getting one item, one weapon from there at that power level pretty much caught me up to that level. As long as I didn't get hit too much, I was able to kill creatures in like 2 hits, when before it would take about 5 plus maybe. So pretty much it starts off hard, but as long as you don't push too hard and you get gear, then you're fine. It's a very gear dependent game, not really levels. All levels do is give you the enchants, which you can add to your gear to make them do special things. So it's pretty much just completely gear based. As long as you get a good piece of gear, you can just move up one, and you just keep moving up. Every time you get a new piece of gear, the higher level on it, until you get all the way to max level, which is what I did. And it really only took me, I think, less than an hour to go from like 60 to the max, which I think is 113. So yeah, it's really not that bad as long as you're constantly swapping out higher item level gear, or whatever you call it, to get even higher gear. So yeah, this game is really only difficult if you make it difficult for yourself, which you can absolutely do if you want. So pretty much as long as you're doing your recommended, maybe 2 to 3 levels above that, you're gonna be fine. As long as you got the gear for it, you're fine. There's really nothing here. And if you're like jumping into giant crowds, of course, you're gonna have some problems. But yeah, just have the fighter bindings with radiance and you're fine. You will not have any problems. Well, unless you're like 20 plus levels ahead of what you're supposed to be, then you might have problems. But either way, it's a fun game, not all that hard. I enjoyed it. Thanks for watching this difficulty check for Minecraft Dungeons.